It's not often the chair gets a clap for just making the announcement, so that's pretty good, isn't it? Right. Well, obviously the discussion was dominated by the question of the open letter, and in many ways that's not surprising. It's a new initiative, it's something that we do feel that we need, and we're trying to grapple with what does it mean, what can we do with it, and all the rest of it. So I'll talk about that first. And I think the question of timescale, I think it is really important, because as I said, you know, the general election is going to happen within the next 11 months. This isn't something we're going to sit around and suck our thumbs about for any length of time, because if we're going to do things, we need to be out campaigning already. And I think that obviously with the PCS, what Mark Soroka wants to do is to try and win the union membership with the idea of actually, you know, it isn't something that he just wants to say this is what we're going to do, and actually winning an argument within the union members, which actually, you know, is something, is a very admirable thing that actually more trade union leaders should do. But I think clearly in terms of an initiative like this, we would be calling on people like Mark Soroka and PCS members to, you know, to support an initiative or a number of initiatives that may come out of this, and not be, you know, that there isn't a mechanical thing of waiting to the end of this process before that can happen. So I think it's clear that there is an urgency to this, and that's why meetings with different people have happened over the past couple of weeks, and will continue to happen over the next couple of weeks. You know, this is happening now in terms of trying to put together a meeting with everybody under one roof to discuss what we can do. And I think Karen's point about scepticism, about the deepness of the disillusionment with politics, means that maybe we're going to have to overcome some people's sort of idea of I don't want to get involved. And, you know, I agree there is a deep disillusionment with official politics. And obviously the key thing is we don't want to be seen as part of those mostly men in suits who dominate our world, who live a different life, you know, who are completely separate to working class experience, and therefore we have to prove that we're different. Now some of that, if we're rooted in our local communities, in our local trade unions, in our local campaigns, people will already know that we're different. If we don't have those roots already, it will be a harder task, definitely. And I think that the thing about you know, the fight to overcome people's anxiety about, oh, are you just going to be the same as everybody else, is about the fact we have to have it connected to struggle. It cannot just be seen as, here's the political electoral response to the crisis, and here's the economic industrial. These things have to be knitted together. They have to be rooted in working class struggle, working class experience. And I think Tom's experience in Cambridge is something that shows how that can work. And there will be other people in other areas where that can work as well. And so this is something that is continuing over the next weeks in a discussion about what we can do. And obviously, people should write letters to Socialist Worker and get involved in that debate as well, if there's key points that you haven't had the opportunity to make tonight or this afternoon, and take the letter around other individuals. But I absolutely agree with the speakers who said, if we go out of this meeting and think, this is the answer, this is what we're doing, as the SWP now, the open letter, left realignment, building an electoral alternative is the only thing, it would be a big mistake. Because that leaves another big arena, and that is the question of working class struggle. That is the question of resistance in the workplace. That is resistance to the jobs massacre, to what's going on every single day, where people are having their hours cut, where people are being told that they may have to work till 70, and all the rest of it. And I think, you know, there's no lack of class bitterness, is there, in British society? It's palpable, isn't it? I mean, I read today in The Guardian that actually how long you live, the gap is growing between the rich and poor in Britain. Growing after 12 years of labour. The length of time you live. 5 years gap between men in Blackpool and men in Kensington and Chelsea. That is a deeply unequal society. Inequality has risen under Labour. You know, so the class bitterness is there. It's just, how is it going to be expressed? How is it going to be articulated? And that's the question that we have to address as the left. And I think that the woman who asked, is this our only chance? You know, if we don't make it this time, is it? Well, I think that's a catastrophist view of the world, and I don't have it, because in itself that's mechanical. It's saying it's all over, it's not, you know, and actually capitalism has an incredible ability, hasn't it, to regroup, and if we let it, the old thing, isn't it, they'll get out of their crisis if we let it. It's a dynamic system. It's constantly trying to take more from us, and we're constantly trying to hang on or get more. That's the dynamic of a narrow elite who exploits the vast majority of people in society. So it's a constant battle, isn't it? Sometimes it's under the surface, and it may just be a worker in a workplace who's snuck off for an extra long tea break. That's class struggle. Or it can be tens of thousands of workers rampaging around the country, pulling out sectors of other workers and demanding the right to jobs, the right to pay, or whatever it is. Actually, this is a dynamic that constantly goes on, but that's not an argument for not making now count. Because actually, this isn't just a continuum. I don't believe in gradualism. I don't believe change ever comes. And we get told in Britain that we're gradualists, you know. They forget that we were the first people to chop the head off the king and ever have a revolution. It's not gradualism that's going to win us anything. And so therefore, because it's not gradual, it isn't like we can just pick our moment when it suits us and let's wait till Marxism is finished and then do something else and then maybe we'll get involved. It's actually, there are key moments that if you can grasp them, you can make a leap that's taken years to get there, if you like. And so therefore today it's everything, isn't it? It's the ideological questions about, is this the only way to run society? Is using profit in the market the only way to run? That's what New Labour told us, didn't they? That's why we had to have the market in schools, in hospitals, in the probation service, you name it, we had to bring the market in. It's been exposed as an absolute sham. Not only a sham, it's been exposed as wrecking society. So the ideological questions are right out there to grab, aren't they? The politicians don't represent us. We always knew that. But it's been exposed now to millions of people. The fact that working class people have to fight to get anything, that struggle is the only thing that ever achieved anything for workers in history, is really easy to point to now, isn't it? Yeah. And so therefore we as socialists, the questions are being asked, aren't they, right now? The big questions are being asked and we have got answers to them. And I think that when people talk about the different elements of what we do, I think that times like this make people revolutionaries, don't they? They make me glad I'm a revolutionary because I, want to get involved and want to make a difference. That's what we want to do, don't we? We want to make a difference. But it will make other people revolutionaries. And I think if we don't grasp the opportunity both to be part of a bigger alternative, part of a unity offensive of trying to make a proper alternative for people, and part of shaping and leading the struggles, then actually we're really missing something big. We're missing the opportunity for there to be a bigger revolutionary current on the left in Britain. And we need that. And we need any of you here who are not already in it. We need you to be in the SWP and to be part of this debate, part of this struggle, part of helping change the world. And, where else is it really to end is to say you should join us if you haven't already. And if you are in us, get out there and grow and make your branches count and make a difference. Because this is a moment where we can make a difference. And I think at Marxism, everything we do, whether it's organising to get people on the train, or whether it's organising to have debates with other academics about why capitalism is really spiralling out of control and all the rest of it. That's what we should be doing as socialists. So if you're not a member, join us, and if you are, let's all get out there and fight for a socialist alternative in Britain and across the world. Thanks for your